Welcome back to Buy or Buy. Today we're looking at the 2003 to 2007 first-generation Cadillac CTS, the absolutely iconic angular art and science sports sedan that officially killed off the dreadful Catera and relaunched Cadillac as a real driver's brand.
It was built right on GM's brand-new rear-wheel drive Sigma platform, rolling out of the Lansing Grand River Assembly Plant in Michigan.
And get this, it was the very first Cadillac you could actually get with a manual gearbox since the 1988 Cimarron. Huge deal!
Under the hood, the engines were all V6s. We're talking a 3.2-liter making 220 horsepower early on, an optional 3.6-liter LY7 pumping out 255, and eventually a 2.8-liter entry engine introduced in 2005. You could pair those with a 5-speed Getrag manual, which later became a 6-speed, or a 5-speed automatic if you prefer to let the car do the shifting.
Oh, and you've definitely seen it before, too. Yep, it's the exact car from that epic freeway chase in The Matrix Reloaded. Honestly, it's cheap, it's rear drive, and available with 3 pedals.
Rear-wheel drive, available manual, 255 horsepower from the 3.6, star of The Matrix Reloaded.
It was $30,000 brand new in 2003, but now you can grab a driver-quality one for about $5,000 in 2026. It's a cheap, angular sleeper. Well, if you can dodge the timing chains anyway.
Section 1. Who and Cross Shop. Let's look at exactly who this budget rear-wheel drive sports sedan is for.
In this explainer, we're targeting budget rear-wheel drive sports sedan buyers wanting something with real character. It's for manual gearbox enthusiasts shopping on the cheap, Cadillac fans wanting a piece of the start of the modern era, and honestly, first car buyers who just want rear drive on a strict budget.
You're probably cross-shopping this against the V8-powered Cadillac CTS V Gen 1, which brings massive LS6 or LS2 performance, or maybe looking ahead to the newer, larger, second-generation CTS. Rivals also include the BMW 3 Series E46 or E90, the rear-drive V6 Infiniti G35, the Lexus IS, and the front-drive Acura TL. Bottom line, it's the angular American outlier in a highly crowded segment.
Section 2. The Gems. Let's talk about what makes this car special. The GM Sigma platform officially launched Cadillac's first dedicated rear-wheel drive architecture in decades. They finally ditched the front-wheel drive Opel-based underpinnings of the old Catera and introduced that incredibly bold, sharp-creased art and science design language, complete with those signature vertical headlights.
The powertrain basically spans 3 distinct V6 eras. First, you've got the 220 horsepower 3.2-liter LA3 from 2003 to 2004. Then comes the real defining performance engine, the 3.6-liter LY7 dual overhead cam V6. That one generates 255 horsepower and 252 pound-feet of torque. Finally, from 2005 onwards, they dropped in the 2.8-liter LP1 V6 producing 210 horsepower and 194 pound-feet as the entry point. Transmission-wise, you had the 5-speed Getrag 260 manual early on, which later got bumped up to a 6-speed, or, again, you could grab the 5-speed automatic. And when you pair those engines with a 4-wheel independent suspension setup front and rear, it clicks off 0 to 60 in about 6.5 to 7.5 seconds, entirely depending on your engine choice. This was literally Cadillac proving to the world that they could build a chassis that genuinely handled.
Stepping inside, you get a classic 5-gauge cluster, an available manual shifter planted right there in the center console, leather seats, and that highly distinct early 2000s Cadillac dash. You could even spec it with navigation and Bose audio. It was heavily inspired by the Evoq-concept car and actually earned a North American Car of the Year nomination back in 2002.
Let's talk numbers. You're looking at an original MSRP of $30,000 back in 2003, but today, it trades for an incredibly affordable $4,000 to $9,000 as a used 2026 driver. If you want a pristine, clean, low-mile example, expect to pay around $10,000 to $15,000. Bottom line, you get legendary platform dynamics and heritage styling for absolute pennies.
Section 3. The Issues. Now let's look at the mechanical faults and see how this all builds into a dramatic tension lurking right under the hood.
The absolute defining deal-breaker here is the 3.6-liter LY7 timing chain stretch. Unfortunately, this is a massive GM-wide flaw. The chains and guides wear out prematurely, typically between 80,000 and 120,000 miles, causing a nasty rattling noise on startup, reduced power, and it triggers cam correlation codes like P008 or P009. Oh, and on top of that, there's a known head gasket weakness as the engine ages. Yikes.
So the really crucial point here is that this is an interference engine.
You absolutely cannot ignore a failing chain. Severe stretch or a jump chain will literally cause catastrophic internal engine damage. Fixing it demands a massive front engine teardown, requiring 10 to 16 hours of labor to replace all 3 chains, tensioners, and guides. And that's going to cost a staggering $2,000 to $3,500.
Now, the moderate and minor faults are kind of extensive too. The first-generation Sigma platform can actually suffer from rear subframe cracking where mounting points break from road impacts, which causes a clunking sound and requires professional welding. You also get carbon buildup on the LY7's intake valves, failing internal water pumps that can mix coolant into the oil, and some hopelessly dated, cheap interior plastics. We're also talking electrical glitches in the door modules and cluster, front control arm bushing wear, worn sway bar links, and sunroof drains that absolutely love to clog and flood your interior. Plus, you're only getting a mediocre 16 to 22 mpg, and the 3.6 recommends premium fuel. Parts availability is great thanks to shared GM components, but the repair builds definitely stack up fast. Bottom line, the 2.8-liter LP1 is definitely the most reliable, but any neglected 3.6-liter will absolutely bankrupt you.
Section 4. Verdict. Maybe. So, buy or buy? Honestly, the 2003 to 2007 first-gen Cadillac CTS is a genuinely cool, angular rear-wheel drive sleeper. It delivers that distinct art and science styling, an available manual gearbox, matrix-reloaded fame, and dirt-cheap used pricing that makes it a really fun entry into rear-drive ownership.
But, and it's a huge but, the 3.6 LY7's timing chain and head gasket issues are incredibly real. They can easily cost more than the entire car is actually worth, which firmly holds our recommendation to a solid maybe. So maybe you buy a 3.6 LY7 manual priced at $5,000 to $9,000, but only if the timing chain work is already fully documented. That right there is the absolute sweet spot. Or maybe you go for a 2.8-liter LP1 car for maximum reliability, assuming you can live with just 210 horsepower.
Maybe you find a pristine low-mile example at $10,000 to $15,000, but you've got to walk away, literally say bye to any 3.6 with a timing rattle, cam correlation codes, or zero maintenance records. That repair job completely erases the bargain.
Bottom line, if you want the V8 monster, definitely cross-shop the previously covered CTS-V. But ask yourself, are you ready to roll the dice on a budget sleeper, or is the timing chain terror just too much to handle?